Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I'm Andy Signor, and everybody hates Chris Pratt. Well, today they do, at least on Twitter. But ironically, this is not the first time that people hated Chris. Chris Pratt is a celebrity they've attempted to cancel multiple times on social media. Now, it's important we clarify, Chris Pratt's not being canceled. He's not actually gonna be canceled. However, they are trying to cancel him due to his religious and supposed political beliefs. But it's important we actually break all this down. There's a lot of stories out there, but I wanted to really do some homework to go back and figure out how this actually started, what Chris Pratt has said, what is he actually against? Let's break it all down for you so you can make your own decisions, okay? So this all started earlier today when someone asked a question that we've all asked at a certain point. Who's the best Chris? Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, or Chris Evans? And, well, Twitter spoke. Chris Pratt was the worst Chris. So a lot of people were bringing him up in this conversation, and this is what started the conversation of why people disliked Chris Pratt, brought a lot of people to see an old story that was out there based on a quote by actress Ellen Page, reminding the whole world that Chris Pratt is anti-rights of a certain group, which I got to be careful how many times I say it, but you'll see it in a second. But that's really where this started. And I'm going to break down that in a second, but it's important you sort of see where all this is coming from. So all these, oh my God, Chris Pratt is anti-LGBTQ? Bruh, no. Oh man, I'm only just finding out that he's a Trump supporter? I'm so messed up. Look at like 56,000 people from last night. I can't stand Chris. It doesn't surprise me. He follows a church that is anti-everything. Chris Pratt is a MAGA, Trumpy piece of S. He's also part of that anti-church. Anyway, what? Support Chris, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, you get the point. This goes a lot. It puts here, source, trust me. But anyway, and here's the proof against it. So, which I'm going to break it all down for you. But anyway, if you go through, you'll see a lot of people just jumping on the Twitter mob to pile and hate on him. And the reality is there's nothing proven that Chris Pratt is against these things. But yet everyone on Twitter is just buying it. And it's terrifying. That's cancel culture. Cancel culture is people just going on Twitter, following the mob, the social media mob, and just saying, yeah, this must be accurate. This must be true. Well, no, I'm supporting you. I'm supporting you, Chris. I got your back today. Let's knock down these trolls, because hate is absolutely on both sides. And the hate is huge right now on the ignorant side of people just assuming that Chris Pratt is against these things. So let's actually go back down to where this all started. It all started with Ellen Page, okay? So Ellen Page called him out for his church. And so if to tell this story properly, though, you got to really go back to this clip from Stephen Colbert from February 1st, 2019, where she did a very emotional plea to supporting this community. And look, it's a powerful clip. But it was tied to her defense and support of Jussie Smollett. If you guys actually go back and figure that out, she's wishing him all her heart and her support because he was, beaten. And the fact of the matter was he wasn't. That's been proven. So it just points out again why we have to be careful of not just following a leader and believing things we just hear without doing our homework and doing some research. Now, look, I understand she meant well, and we all sort of wanted to give Jussie the benefit of the doubt. But again, proof, we can't just do that anymore. People do want attention, and people do lie, sadly. And so that's where this really came from. So while she was correct, there's a lot to fight for in this community, and I stand with her to support that. The reality is she's just a little bit misguided here on her anger and where she's pointing it. So a lot of people talk, and then this was a couple days later. Chris Pratt was on the Stephen Colbert Show promoting the Lego Movie 2, and that's when Ellen chimed in. Okay, but his church is infamously anti-right, so maybe address that too. And then followed up, if you're a famous actor and you belong to an organization that hates a certain group of people, don't be surprised if someone simply wonders why it's not addressed. Being anti this is wrong. There aren't two sides. The damage it causes is severe, full stop, sending love to all. Now, I support her on this statement. She's right. There are not two sides to this. You either support the group or you don't. To me, it's a pretty easy thing, and I do want to show some support here of like, she's right. Just why don't we support it? We should support it, obviously. And if he was out there promoting the opposite, then I could see why she's upset. But he was very quick to jump on Instagram to reply to this one. and it's a very hard to read story, but luckily this site brought it up. But let's go through Chris Pratt's actual words here, okay? It has recently been suggested that I belong to a church which hates a certain group of people, and that is infamously anti this group. Nothing could be further from the truth. I go to a church that opens their doors to absolutely everyone. Despite what the Bible says about my divorce, my church community was there for me every step of the way, never judging, just gracefully accompanying me on my walk. They helped me tremendously, offering love and support. It is what I have seen them do for others on countless occasions, regardless of sexual orientation, race, or gender. My faith is important to me, but no church defines me or my life. And I am not a spokesman for any church of any group of people. My values define who I am. We need less hate in this world, not more. I am a man who believes that everyone is entitled to love who they want, free from the judgment of their fellow man. Look, that's a strong statement. It is clear to me two things. One, he's saying he's never seen that. He's never seen that type of thing. And he's saying his church, implying sort of the church doesn't believe what she's saying. And he's also saying that he does not define by his church. Church has been there for him through his divorce, which would be against the Bible. And they've been there to help him on his journey. And that he clearly, the most important part, everyone is entitled to love who they want, free from the judgment of their fellow man. I mean, that's as clear cut as it gets. But people, that wasn't enough. Comparing the treatment of our people to the church, in the church, to him getting a divorce is straight male privilege at its finest. I mean, he's speaking about what he knows. That's what that meant. Divorce is also not supported in the Bible. Yet here he was talking about his experience dealing with his church and something that his church isn't supposed to support. I'm just confused why that's now male entitlement. What? What's happening? What is happening? This is hate. This is hate. The man has said nothing. The man has said nothing against what you're against him for, and you're still bullying him. How is that helping the cause? That's just making you the bullies. I don't get it. I don't get it. What evidence do you have here that Chris Pratt has endorsed and supports what you're saying he does? I don't see it anywhere online. It doesn't exist. It's so frustrating. And so what they talk about here, and I'm going to get to this, of the church and everything. Where was it? Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of people complain. This site hates him. They don't like him. But to really break this down, you got to sort of go to the source. So I went to the source. Vox here did an article, broke down that his church is LA's Zoe Church. Okay. That's where he goes. Why Ellen Page is even bringing up his church, to me, is beyond it, because how is that our business? Church politics, I don't care. He's not bringing it up. I mean, he's talking about how's his spirituality, but you got to like throw his church out on blast and like tell people where he goes to church, just implying that because he goes to that church, he knows everything they've ever done or said and knows that. That to me is issue number one. But anyway, there's his church, so everyone knows it's out there in the public. And the problem is, apparently that church, the parent group of that church is a church called Hillsong. And so there have been members of the Hillsong churches who have spoke out, but this is misleading, not about Zoe Church, about Hillsong churches. They're sort of lumping them all together saying, well, they're all the same. But the fact of the matter is, Chris's church, Zoe's church, which here is, this is Huffington Post, which is as liberal as it gets. They verify that the church is stance on these issues is unclear. And then if you go to Church Clarity, undisclosed on their policies, so they haven't actually come out against. They've said nothing against. And if you actually go to the church itself, is a place where we open our doors to people of all backgrounds. And looks like they're sort of sitting on the fence on this one, if we're being honest about it. But they're not for or against. They're just sort of just not making it an issue. They're not bringing it up. So that's for the Zoe Church. Now, Hillsong has some people who are upset. If you want to go do that homework, you can see it yourself. But yeah, people are just upset because the Hillsong pastor made a statement about this, and they fired a choir director over his sexuality. But Brian Houston, who is a senior pastor, said, Hillsong Church welcomes all people, but does not affirm all lifestyles. Put clearly, we do not affirm this lifestyle, and because of this, we do not knowingly have actively people in positions of leadership, either paid or unpaid. Now, that was the Hillsong Church, notice there, not the Zoe Church. And sadly, it's what a lot of churches believe. That's really where they are. Even though the Bible doesn't really get specific on it, it's all up to speculation. Let's not get into those weeds. But the reality is that's the facts here. So Hillsong Church made that statement, and a lot of churches believe that, and that's where this came from. And because they're the parent company of Zoe Church, now apparently Zoe Church also believes in this, and therefore Chris Pratt must as well. That's what it means. So the facts of the story remain. Chris Pratt has said nothing against that community. In fact, his own statements prove that everyone should love whoever they want to love without the judgment of their fellow man. Sounds good to me. He also hasn't actually endorsed a candidate or been political online. He just never is, even though everyone keeps saying he is, and assuming he's MAGA. It's really awful how people just do that. Oh, yeah, he's religious, so therefore he must support MAGA. I mean, the fact that people who make those tweets don't understand that they're actually the problem right now is beyond me. That's hate. That is hate. That is discrimination. That is hate. It is an awful side of society that Twitter is just inflaming and just allowing it to just go out like crazy. And it's scary. It is scary to see how this mob will just take hearsay, no proof, hearsay, guilty by association, 2 steps away of association is enough to now just cancel someone and say, well, they're against us. They don't support us. And until they specifically come out and say it, they're against it. I mean, look at this stuff. This stuff is crazy. This guy really upset me, and he's following me. So, Rob, what's up, Rob? Show me the evidence that Chris Pratt did this. And Chris Pratt thinks it's acceptable for a church to literally torture this kids until they say they're straight. He's a monster for defending this therapy. Please show me, Rob, where Chris Pratt thinks it's acceptable and defended it. Please show me online where those two things exist. Because they're not there. I've looked. However, I've been told Chris Pratt has seen this tweet. Chris, if you think I'm wrong, then please condemn and any group that promotes it. It's simple. No, you're a bully who's demanding him to say something he's never endorsed. This isn't cool. I mean, can I just make something up about you, Rob, and demand you say it? We're just start demanding each other. You're against this, you're against that. I demand you say it now. Even though you clearly believe in supporting that anyone's entitled to love who they want, free from the judgment of their fellow man, you must still be supportive of this. You must still not believe us. It's not enough. Chris, give us your blood. Show it to me right now. Chop off a finger to prove you support us, or else we're going to keep blasting you. This is scary stuff, guys. It is only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. Is it true? Yes. Oh, source? Rob Gill. What's happening? What is happening? Good take by the Critical Drinker, by the way. Chris Pratt seems like a chilled out, optimistic, generally well-adjusted dude who doesn't feel the need to impose his political views on his fans. No wonder the writers at Jezebel hate him. Chris Pratt, just come out and say you're Republican. Thanks. Damn it, I literally just finding out that Chris Pratt's a Trump supporter, and I'm so messed up behind that. Chris Pratt doesn't advertise his political affiliation. Facts. Doesn't insult consumers. Facts. But didn't attend a Biden rally, so he needs to be canceled. That's also facts. Apparently, all the Avengers are going to a Biden rally, and so he's not there, so he must not be supporting, so we must get rid of him. He's not Chris Evans, America's sweetheart. Meanwhile, most of Hollywood decides to talk down to us plebs about politics, and you're good with that. Facts. Also, here, Matt, a comment from Matt I wanted to echo. So the left hates Chris Pratt now because supposedly he's a Trump supporter, even though he's never said it. Yeah, conservatives watch movies too. Also, kind of hypocritical of y'all that you don't like Chris Pratt, but like all the stars knew about Harvey Weinstein and said nothing. Yeah, I'm going to like that because that is facts. That is facts. The hypocrisy of the left right now is so sad. And I say that as someone who was on the left in Hollywood. It discourages me, man, how misguided they are right now. They are so lost in the weeds, and they don't see that they're dividing people just as much as the extreme right is. Both extreme on either side is just destroying us. I firmly believe it. There's no conversations anymore. There's no agree to disagree. There's no meet in the middle of like, all right, well, look, I believe this, you believe that. Look, what I believe is the separation of church and state. Absolutely believe it. Does that mean I dislike Chris Pratt because he's religious? No. Good for him, man. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. As long as it doesn't interfere with my life, as long as his laws aren't written based off of his religion, I don't care what he wants to believe. Let him do what he wants to do. Just like in the LGBT plus community, look, love who you want to love. What's the complicated story here? Until Chris Pratt says something specifically that we should condemn, there's not a story here. Stop hating on him. He just doesn't agree with you, I guess, because he's religious. What's wrong with him wanting to be religious? He's allowed. It's the freedoms of our country. We gotta stop hating people because they're religious. We gotta stop assuming all religious people are MAGA supporters and need to die. I mean, this is awful what we're doing. I don't mean to preach here, but what is happening to our society? Am I crazy? I'd love your support, your thoughts on this topic. Help the engagement down below this video. Spread it, share it, like this video. Hit that subscribe button. It'll appear here in a second, or it might already be there. And check out these videos here. But please engage here. Help spread the word. We got to support Chris Pratt on this just because, look, we can't let the Twitter mobs keep doing this. They're going to keep doing it. But I hope enough people will see content like this and our voices out there to sort of help educate, asking for sources and putting the proper information out there so people can actually make the right decision and not just jump on and cancel people. It's not good for our society at all. It's not good for any communities. And it's not good for rallying support of any communities. I'll say that too. So let's all be better. And in the words of Chris Pratt, stop hating. Until I see Chris Pratt actively hating and saying something awful, he doesn't owe us anything. He doesn't owe us anything. We have to stop demanding that every celebrity support every cause and very clearly and every little if, ands, or but, because that opens up a whole can of worms that's really dangerous. Until he says he's against, we have to assume he's for. That's how it works. So stop assuming everybody in the world's for something when they're not. Just because the parent company of his church believes something, he's made it clear that he doesn't, that's not him. He's not defined by his church. He's made it clear. He's put the statements out there. Let's follow Chris Pratt's own words. But again, subscribe. Thanks for watching so much here on Popcorn Planet. Check out this other content. Smash that like button. Leave a comment. And thank you so much for watching here, Popcorn Planet.